Welcome to Talk Tennis. Troy is joining me today so we can talk all about the ATP Tour for 2023. What's up?
What's up? It's a new year.
New
Last
year,
year
same
went
us.
by too fast. Roger left us.
Roger's gone.
We gotta move on.
No, I think
know.
this is officially the first Grand Slam without Roger. Even though he did not play the U.S. Open at the time of the U.S. Open, we still thought he could play the Australian.
Yeah.
And we have some good memories. Roger matches in the middle of the night. I'll never forget that Roger Rafa match. Texting the group text, the teed up group text in the middle of the night, and they all fell asleep. No one was up.
17 Aussie?
Yeah.
The one
2017, the black and the white, and then
yeah.
Rafa was wearing green, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Or the Rafa was in the black and white, Roger was in the emerald.
Or was it reversed? Wasn't Roger wearing white and black? Because I have the skirt.
Maybe it was, but I want to say Rafa was in the white top too.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know for sure when they ended up in, was it Miami? Roger had the green, right? Versus Kyrgios.
Yes. And then, I remember all those big RF. Oh, wow. That was when he was with Nike still.
Yeah. And those Vapor Knits were super
man.
cool shoes.
Yeah.
And then speaking about Kyrgios, he's not playing Aussie.
What the heck? I can't. I officially can't.
I feel for him. It sounds like it's a torn meniscus, which I know things definitely could be worse, like ACLs and stuff like that, but
it's not.
It sounds
easy.
like this has been lingering, and hey,
You know what? I will give you that. He pulled out the United Cup, so he obviously wasn't 100%.
Yeah.
But just, with his antics going into tournaments, you're like, okay, he's ready. He's going to back it up. He started running his mouth saying if he won the Australian Open, he was going to retire and all that. And then Aussie Open starts for 3 matches deep. And then he just press conference with his trainer, right?
Yeah. His guy that does his physio, his massages and stuff.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what, though? I wish, maybe I don't wish, I kind of wish someone like ESPN would hire him. And it's then we get to hear what he has to say.
Right.
They might have to put a delay on.
Yeah.
But why not?
Because he can be such a fun guy, the way he his buds on the tour. And
yeah. I struggle with him because I like him and then he does something silly and I don't like him. But he did some funny exhibitions.
Honestly, it's I just want the guy to be happy. I don't know the guy. And if they talk about in the which we're talking about the Netflix series.
Yes, Breakpoint.
Maybe he doesn't have a full schedule and whatnot. And that's his life.
Yeah.
I know
so
many people that love the sport see how good he is, see how great he potentially maybe could be. But he's just a human being, man. Just if he doesn't want to play a full season, let the guy do what he wants.
Oh, I agree.
And let him find his own inner peace and his own happiness. That's all I really want for the guy.
Yeah.
I don't want him to try to have to be anything he's not. And
yeah.
I mean, maybe, it is a slight bummer to tennis that, man, he could be competing for these slams just like he showed us in Wimbledon.
Yeah.
But, like I said, I always use a stupid analogy, but not everybody's built like Rafa and not everybody's built like Roger.
Right.
We're just so used to seeing that,
No, totally. And I kind of was hoping, not really, but kind of that with Roger taking that abbreviated schedule a couple years back, that maybe that could be a more normal thing for players because we do see the season. It is such a freaking grind. And as someone that watches sports, you're pretty into sports, how sad are you every time NFL's over?
Oh, yeah.
Major League Baseball's over, basketball's over. You're my God, what do I do now?
It sucks for us as fans.
Yeah.
I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan as quarterback, but Tom Brady's the great, or any of those sports, any other sport other than tennis, the ones that have seasons. And they're putting in work in the off season, but you hear these top level quarterbacks talking about I need my few months in the off season to unwind.
It's the mental break.
And it makes me give even more respect to the tennis players and give even more thought that they get a month or a month and a half off.
I know.
They're not even getting the months that these NBA players or these NFL players are getting to be at home with their family.
It's crazy.
And it's then it makes me side even more with the Kyrgios schedule or even the schedule that Rafa's had to take in certain years with his injuries and stuff. It's damn, maybe we should rethink the way it's spread out.
Even this year, it was like, I think I noticed that it was a solid 3 weeks off for some players if they were not going straight to play the first tournament of the year. But that meant they were not playing the first tournament of the year, which, like, that's not necessarily, you want to get your feet wet. You want to get acquainted with, I don't know. But 3 weeks is not that long.
Right. And I mean, I know this is another different sport, but me and my buddies are big into the UFC and fight sports. And it's like, these guys are maybe taking a couple fights a year. And I mean, they're taking beatings to the head and different things that you can't fathom in other sports, maybe, except for maybe like football collisions. But like, they definitely have their spread out schedule and time to contemplate and time to like the downtime. Whereas like a lot of these players in tennis are like losing heartbreaking matches. Like we talk about the Medvedev last year, up 2 sets. Or I even talk about like the Tsitsipas French when he lost to Djokovic, up 2 sets. These are like devastating, heartbreaking, and then like 2 weeks later, let's go play on the grass. It's done with.
Yeah.
Let's just sweep it under the rug, and it's like tough,
Not just the mental thing too. Something that I've noticed, and maybe again it's watching Breakpoint, and we really got to see like a bit more of an insider's view into the tour and like behind the scenes, kind of like the stuff behind the stadium that you don't necessarily always get to see, but the physicality of it, because I know as a college player, like the off season was always when you could build your muscle and it was like more time in the weight room. And yeah, you're also working on speed, but you're working on strength. But then once season came, it was more about like maintaining health and like, working on your speed and your quick reactions and stuff like that. But all of a sudden, and again, I don't know if this is a shift or whatnot, but like I'm seeing players in the gyms, at the tournaments, doing weight training, like serious weight training, like deadlifts and, like they're and like then you think of those 3 weeks. I know there's a player that we sponsor that does like this insane preseason, and she's always like running, biking, lifting heavy, swimming, like everything. And I'm thinking, okay, so if they're really working so physically hard for 3 weeks, but they're mentally supposed to be off, but how are you mentally off if you're like training your butt off? And then they get to a tournament and you still have the freaking physicality side of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, even as a playtester, sometimes we just need to not touch a racket.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. That's my small rant.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mentally, I don't know how they do it. Physically, I don't know.
I know we were kind of talking about this earlier, but speaking of the Netflix series, Breakpoint, and one thing that came up in the office was the whole Rafa antics, like in the hallway before,
we were
and
getting
he's like,
saucy about those.
Well, I just knew that. I knew that he was very much like in your face and like right next to the person. Like the one that always comes up is the time, I think it was maybe Berrettini or I forget who it was. And he's like in the hallway and he hits his head on the roof. like he's so like amped, and it like, and Mark Boone, the playtester, we were talking and like, he's like, that's pretty intimidating for him to be like, almost like flaunting. But
it's so intimidating.
He's so like, I know his tunnel vision.
He doesn't care. Yeah. But it was wild to watch, and that's what I think I was saying is wild to watch. They show it with FAA. They show it with a few players, but FAA in particular, he's just at the point he's just hired Uncle Tony. It's right at the French. He's playing against Rafa, and Rafa comes out there and just starts doing his sprints. Yeah. He's got his racket in his hand, and you literally see FAA like look at Rafa, and then like look down to his bag, and like, should I be doing that? And then even to the point where like, I think he said, when do we go on? And they're like, 30 seconds. And then he's like, okay. But you can already see he's in his head. He is in his head. He was already in his head, but the second he saw Rafa.
Yeah. And then like maybe if it's like a Novak final between Rafa and Rafa.
My gosh.
Novak's like, this shit again. But like, I'm just kidding. But like,
no, seriously.
But like talking about the mental side, like Rafa's so focused, warrior, ready to go out there for battle, and he's just like pumped up doing his thing in the hallways. And then I'm thinking like, I forget which final it was, maybe US or Australian where Rafa lost. I don't know. It might have been like the one where he lost to Roger in 17, or it might have been one of the long epic ones where he lost to Novak, and Novak's like had his number on hard courts for like a long time. But Rafa, like literally as soon as he got through the doors, into the hallway and like ESPN had their camera on him. He's like hands in his face. He's just like bawling,
Upset.
like just shaking. You can see him crying. Like to
Yeah.
go from that to
Yeah.
defeat, you know?
I
But
know.
Rafa's one of probably the best of all time, competitiveness wise, just about. I mean, just putting everything into it. And then at that moment, it's just like letting it all like, oh my God, I just did
Right.
everything I could and lost. Yeah.
that-
So there's like the extremes. That's
Yeah.
kind of like,
It's crazy. It's crazy. And then also to be that player that's lost, I think, 3 times at Roland Garros? 3 times.
yeah.
Most people have lost, if they've been on tour for 10 years, 10 times.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. I don't
And
know.
I think that's why a guy like him, when whoever his victim is at the tournament,
Oh, man.
whoever he decides to be or ends up beating that year, like he's so compassionate and knows, because he knows what it's like on the other end, you know?
Yeah.
Just like Roger and just like Novak. Those 3 have just fought each other for so long. And then you even someone like, I feel so much for Andy Murray. You know?
Oh, I
Like,
know. Oh my gosh. I know. Yeah, his documentary was so crazy too. That which again shows the physicality and the mental side of everything. It's
talk about
wild.
physicality. That guy
is a
Andy's like the epitome.
Beast
Yeah.
in the best way. Yeah. These guys, it's definitely, I don't know. I don't even know.
And Andy's like, there's so many like storylines and things I'm thinking of, but like Andy's like the epitome of like fitness. And just look at the guy; he looks like he's like a boxer,
I know.
just so trim, and his legs are like trunks.
Right?
But then for him to also be like so delicate at this time in his age, where he knows he has the metal hip, and
Yeah.
he knows when he goes through bag check in the airport, like it's gonna go off. Like for
Yeah.
him to just be so physical and such a great competitor, but to also be so delicate, and for him to know like
He's
any
a time
given
bomb right
any
now.
given second,
It's
like might be his last
yeah,
match. You know?
he admitted that. That's wild. And like to put it out, to go to a tournament and say you're going to play and commit and put it all out on the line and basically know that this could be your last tournament because you might not be able to ever like step foot on a court again because you might be so injured.
Yeah.
Can you imagine thinking that way? I don't know. And then that's where I guess I have to have more empathy and sympathy for someone like Kyrgios, because if he, is really listening to his body and if he came out on court and played and, was out for the rest of the year, that would be a bummer too. So
See, you're lightening, you're lightening up, you know.
Nick, I don't know.
And then you're like Dave Goggins. Like,
yeah, stay hard.
Stay hard.
Stay hard. Speaking of staying hard, I don't know. Let's talk about the men. It's funny. I am getting older. I know this, and tennis has been my life. But looking through the draws, both the men's and the women's, there's for sure a changing of a guard vibe. At least for me, I'm looking through and I'm like,
until Novak wins again. No,
Well.
I'm just kidding.
True. But there's a lot of names that are newer to me or are, younger.
Yeah.
And though it is funny because we always kind of compare these next gen players to the Rafa and the Roger and the Djokovic because no one has actually done what those players have done at that age.
Yeah.
So, FA, you're already 21.
Yeah.
You missed
And
that
I
19-year-old
love
Grand
Felix,
Slam.
but, like,
yeah.
It's like a kid like him that's so talented, definitely a hard worker, but like it's tough because like what was Rafa already winning? Like
Right.
a couple slams by his age, or
Yeah.
even like Roger when he broke through how old was he when he beat
I don't
when he won his first Wimbledon?
No. He must have been young though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But, like, it's tough because they're trying to live up to you should be here by now. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Look at Taylor Fritz. He's kind of coming into his own. And what is he,
Yeah.
like 24?
Yeah. So maybe it's
know?
not fair that we're judging them based on the previous,
Yeah.
guardsmen of
Yeah.
the ATP. However, they have big shoes to fill.
Yeah. But just thinking of the youngsters, and I was like kind of teaching my buddy, Jose, that works here,
Yeah.
about a young guy, the one that just played Rafa last night. But
Yeah.
we were watching him in warm-up tournaments, Draper.
Yeah. Chris really
Um,
likes him.
Big, he's British.
Yeah.
And he's promising, man. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
But two players, and this is another one, American that's not near the ranking of Draper yet, but 2 big serving lefties, Draper and Ben Shelton,
Yes.
the American NCAA champ. That's like pretty promising. He's huge serving lefty. I think maybe Draper's backhand's probably a bigger weapon right now.
Okay.
But Ben hits the forehand pretty heavy.
Big.
So big lefty. It's cool to see like a big, tall lefty. We've seen all these big, tall servers, but haven't been a big, tall.
Wait, was Milos lefty?
No. But like, yeah, it's kind of cool, those two guys.
Well, there was a cool stat that someone put on one of the socials that Ben Shelton a year ago was ranked 327, I think, and getting ready for his. Did he play?
Or he might have even been like in the 600 or something like that not too long ago.
And didn't he play college tennis last spring? Yeah, he played college tennis last spring. And then to see him in the main draw at the Australian Open, it is, when it works, it works.
Yeah.
You know, it's not easy, but his story is really cool. Is his dad traveling with him? Or is his dad still coaching?
I think his dad might still be at Florida.
Okay. So, yeah, he's definitely been fun to watch. And we can talk about his gear, too, right off the bat. What racket does he use?
So he's been with Yonex when he was at Florida. But he used to use the VCore Pro.
Okay.
The old version, the green one.
Uh-huh.
And I believe it was the 1820.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
For a
lots
big guy,
of control.
needs some control.
But then just in the last summer, or since last summer, he switched to the E-Zone.
Oh, interesting.
So I think he's in an E-Zone 98 or 98 Tour.
Okay,
something
I
like
can see that though.
So maybe you just want a little more pop, a little easier power.
Yeah.
I mean, it serves huge.
What does he string with?
That I'm not 100% sure. Can't remember the color of it. I don't know if it's like a Yonex string, if it's the Poly Strike.
Yeah,
or
I'm not sure either.
It might be Poly Pro. Yeah. Or who knows, the college guys. It might be Solinco.
Yeah,
I'm not
right?
sure. But the color of it, I can't recall.
And then we were talking,
I want to say maybe he was with the red string back in the day.
red string or orange.
Or orange, yeah. So it could be like Poly Fire, Poly Rev, or maybe back in the day it was Solinco Outlast. I don't know.
Yeah. And then he's wearing New Balance. He seems to fit that brand well.
Yeah, it was like last year when he was in college, he was Nike shoes, I think, because Florida. And he was like in between I remember one match, he was playing like a Challenger Futures or something. And he switched from like a Vapor X to a React Vapor NXT in the same match. Because one of them, like, he probably burned a hole in it.
Yeah.
And then not too long after, I think New Balance kind of picked him up and he was wearing Lovs and started wearing like New Balance apparel.
Yeah.
But then he's been seen in an exhibition trying out
those Roger shoes. And they're cool. Because they kind of have like an RF. Have you seen them up close?
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, those are cool. So definitely looks like a player that like appreciates a little extra stability from a pair of shoes and durability.
Yeah.
But it's funny looking at some of these guys, they do still look so young.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, you are the next gen. But that's awesome. Before we get too deep into anything, let's talk about some of the players. And I know Alcaraz is not playing.
I know, that's a bummer.
I'm bummed too, which means he will lose his number one spot, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when Novak wins the tournament.
Hey, I picked Novak to win.
I know, right? It's like he's playing pretty much.
I can't see anyone beating him.
In 5.
My heart would. I was gonna pick Tiafoe, but since you already took that pick, I was gonna go with the head, and I don't know. I hope Tiafoe he can break through, but I think Novak has a lot.
Yeah, and like
he's
playing level wise, unless like Rafa just catches fire or something. I could see maybe the only other players that in the past have like been close would be like Medvedev.
Yeah.
I think Tsitsipas is getting there. I mean, obviously he was up 2 sets to him at the French a couple years ago. So Tsitsipas has the game. He just needs to. I think he could.
You know what? I've picked Tsitsipas too many times and he's let me down.
But I think he's like getting there. Like,
I don't know. I hope so.
He has the game. He definitely has the game.
That's not even a question. Yeah. It's the mental. I don't know. Yeah. He's playing doubles with his brother though. But they play the first seed in the first round.
Right.
Oh, man. We're just so excited for tennis, so I keep jumping all over the place. But even talking about...
gear.
Well, I was just going to say, even talking about Djokovic, and we've talked about Breakpoint, because it's trending, and we got to. Another player that was in it and highlighted that I'm not... It's no spoilers or anything, not giving anything away, but... Also someone that I kind of like now respect a little bit more, maybe, or like want to tune into a little bit more.
Which
and
one,
I thought,
Italian?
No, I thought maybe he was a little vanilla. Well, I've always liked him. I thought he was maybe a little vanilla, but Casper Ruud.
Oh, I like Casper.
He's a cool kid.
I don't know like much about him like outside of tennis.
Yeah.
But I've liked him like since I started watching like his game.
Yeah.
To know that he went to the Rafa Academy.
Yeah.
I know his dad was a player.
Yeah.
And like.
But it's interesting because and his dad's his coach, and his dad like straight up is like, yeah, I got to, I think he was top 40 career high. And he's like, but it's hard. And so I stopped. And then you hear Casper, and Casper's like, I modeled my game after Rafa.
Yeah.
I am good on clay.
Yeah.
And then to have watched him last year, and he's got so close a few times. And then even last week, was it? No, that was someone else. That was Seb, I think. But he, so Casper Ruud.
Yeah.
He's
and he's like got that mindset. Like he's definitely he has that like Spanish mentality.
Yes.
Yeah, like fight, hardworking.
It's pretty cool.
I know, like, you know, we're talking about Kyrgios and like, I mean, Rafa and Kyrgios have had their beef in certain aspects.
Yeah.
I think Casper and Kyrgios have also had like,
I can see that.
conflicts on court.
I can see that.
You know, like
he takes it pretty seriously. Yeah.
Like I think it was something along the lines of like, you know, like grow up, like take this serious.
Yes.
Same with Stevie Johnson. Stevie Johnson and Kyrgios have had like beefs, I think, on court. Yeah, and I'm a big Stevie fan.
Stevie, yeah, Casper kind of reminds me of Stevie a little bit. Like he's the California version, maybe. No, and older, but
definitely better two-handed backhand.
Yeah,
but
so I got to Casper from Alcaraz. So I'm gonna go back. Let's talk about Alcaraz and what shoes he's wearing or has been wearing.
Yeah, so Alcaraz.
Yes.
He was last year pretty much always Vapor Pro.
Right. Yeah.
And this year, I wasn't sure if he had tried the Vapor Pro 2, but for sure he's been trying the Vapor 11.
Yeah, and so it's become interesting for us at least to see where these athletes go, whether they keep going into if they go Vapor Pro to Vapor Pro 2 or Vapor Pro to Vapor 11.
Yeah.
Because I mean, everyone's curious.
Rublev was another one that used to always be Vapor Pro, and now he's trying the Vapor 11.
Which I think, based on our initial wears, the Vapor 11 is going to be a little more stable than the Vapor Pro 2, right? Yeah. Okay.
It feels a little more substantial, a little more of the stability feel to it.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit more in the midsole.
Cushioned.
Yeah.
Responsive.
I wouldn't say soft, but like there's more material underfoot for sure.
Yes. I tried on a pair yesterday. Well, we could say yesterday. It was Friday. After I was wearing the Cybersonics, and it felt a little more plush underfoot of the Vapor 11, but definitely firm. So like responsive, quicker to react.
Yeah.
Okay. So, enough with Alcaraz since he's not even playing right now. But we can talk about his racket.
Yeah.
That Pure Aero 98.
Yeah, the Pure Aero 98.
Yeah.
Yes. Formerly, it was the Pure Aero VS. Now in the 2023 series, they're getting rid of the VS.
Yeah.
And they're calling it the Pure Aero 98. So,
and
very similar mold.
Yes.
Very similar frame.
VS as in very similar.
Oh, yeah. That didn't think very similar. Very
Not
same.
to confuse everyone.
But yeah, some slight tweaks to the technology and the flex and the layup. So a little bit softer than the VS that came before it. And a little bit more feel, a little more dwell time.
Yeah. To me, I thought the VS felt a little tinny. And I don't know if that's the right word, but
like firm, tinny.
Yeah.
Tinny sometimes to me also reflects like a hollowness.
Yes.
Whereas this one feels a little more plush.
Agreed. Yes. Yeah.
And supposedly one of the technologies in the Aero has to do with like flax
fibers.
So it's like smooth.
Yeah. And recycled materials.
Yeah. But it is noticeable difference.
No, it is noticeable.
Like I've been hitting the Plus Aero 2023 a lot. Like it took me a while to get around to it because we've been testing so many rackets. But you're like, have you hit the new Plus?
Yeah.
I know you like Pluses. Have you hit the new Plus? And I'm like, not yet, Michelle. I'm like, it's on my list. And then as soon as I hit it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is nice.
It's nice.
Like I could switch from my E-Zone 98 Plus to this because it's more controlled feeling.
Yeah. Did they change the string pattern at all? I mean, not the actual numbers,
on
but like
the Pure Aero and the Pure Aero Plus, yes, it got
it's
tighter,
right? Okay.
But on the 98, I think it's the same as the VS before.
It's 1620, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that racket reviewed quite well with our team. I know Chris really likes it too. So
Guy's playing. He
Watch
plays
out.
good with that racket.
Watch out. Yeah. There's a few rackets of the new ones. The VCore 95, what I saw and what I think he's translating into like solid play. He's getting the tip through so fast
You're
on
talking
his
about Chris?
backhand. Sorry. Yes, Chris. He's getting the tip through so fast on his backhand. And it's just like this solid, fast swing. And it's, yeah. But, well, we'll play the game that we played on the women's side. We'll go VCore 95.
Okay.
Let's just talk the next thing that comes to mind. To me, there's two things, but Chapeau is the next one.
Vapor Pro 2.
Yeah.
Still head to toe Nike.
Head to toe Nike.
But yeah, it's kind of cool that, because for a while, like last year, he was E-Zone 98, then he was like blacked out racket, and we weren't sure like if Yonex was going to keep him in the E-Zone or take him back to his V-Core that he was kind of endorsing for the longest time.
Yeah.
And it seems like they've settled on the V-Core.
V-Core, which I think matches his game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's like very precise. The V-Core 95 is like very precise, but more forgiving than the previous V-Core 95s. And I think that's what he was going for compared to the old V-Core 95s to the, like going to the E-Zone 98 was more forgiveness. But I think this new V-Core 95 gives him a little bit more forgiveness than the old ones, but not as much power and maybe better feel than the E-Zone 98.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That makes sense.
And
then did Marcos switch?
He's in the new one? He's in the
new one.
New cosmetics for sure.
New
The new
cosmetics.
2023 V-Core 95.
Nice. And then he rocks his buddy's brand.
Actually, strings for strings.
Yeah.
No, he's actually in. He's in a hybrid now, and I think he switched polys too. I forget which one he went with, but shoot, he went. I know he's using gut because he's looking for gut now for his hybrid.
He's scrounging for gut.
Yeah, he used to use like that blue steel string,
Yeah,
and I
he's
think
blue
he's
steel.
like in maybe a Solinco, maybe Confidential or something mixed with the gut. I forget which one.
Confidential.
He's mixing something else with it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparel wise though is his buddy's brand.
Yeah, and that's the
Leo.
yeah, Leo Reaver, something like that.
He's been rocking the tanks, the
Yeah.
sleeveless.
Yeah.
And then he's still wearing caseless shoes, right?
Ultra Shot 3 with Tennis Warehouse socks.
Nice. That's
And
allegedly
T-Dub
the
trucker
best.
hats and
Yes.
T-Dub sweatshirts. Baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, those crew sweatshirts, they're the best.
I saw like a picture of him doing like maybe like a taste of tennis type event where he was like behind the bar at the Australian Open. And you know what he was wearing? T-Dub trucker hat, T-Dub sweater.
That's
baby.
awesome.
That guy is
I love
like
it.
SoCal.
He's so
Chill.
SoCal.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of SoCal, let's transition that way. Let's go Taylor Fritz, who also has a
I thought you were going to go
Oh.
Sam Querrey. I was like, he's on the pickleball court.
Hey, I mean, he is. Sam, what happened?
What
We
happened?
don't talk about pickleball on this
What
podcast.
happened? No, just kidding.
Taylor Fritz, who also has a decent role in the Breakpoint. What are we calling it? I'm calling it a tennis docu-series. So stay tuned for that, which I think, again, I am appreciating what Netflix has done because it actually adds a lot of personality to players that maybe we don't think. Sorry,
Yeah.
Taylor. Sometimes Taylor's very cut and dry and it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But-
he said he was going to knock out Tiafoe in one punch. No, just kidding. I think I might have
man.
been too if I almost got pants on
Oh
national
man,
television.
they were talking about that, the commentators. So this whole United Cup crew, like they really seem to bond, which is fun. I guess they did like an escape room the other night together. Yeah. But yeah,
the American team,
the American team.
even the Spanish team. That
They bonded
interview
too?
where Rafa and Badosa were playing mixed together
Uh-huh.
or something like that, or they
Yeah.
were talking about being doubles partners.
I am here for the United Cup. I hope they keep doing it.
Yeah, that's
'cause
cool.
That was fun to watch. But Taylor Fritz, our California boy,
He's in the new
Man.
Radical
new radical.
2023.
I think the cosmetics look great.
Yeah,
Okay.
Andy Murray's
I
in
didn't
the
know
new
if other
cosmetic
people
too.
did. Yeah. It looks cool.
it looks really good on TV.
I really like that racket. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the Pro a lot.
Yeah.
This is one of the first like radicals I'd say in a few generations where I was like, oh yeah, this is like
It's solid.
it. Yeah, and it almost I don't know if the beam changed much, but now when you hold it, it's almost looks like it's got that thin beam again.
Okay.
Like the radicals from before
Mhm.
graphene.
Before.
Yeah, like
It's been a
almost got,
minute.
and it's got a low
It's been-
flex. It's still a little more muted than I would say like a UTEC IG, like classics,
Yeah.
microgel,
Yeah.
where those were like really all about feel.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more muted, but also a little more power and spin.
Yeah.
So you get like, I think, a good combination.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I don't
Yeah,
I don't know his
Radical
full setup or anything,
is
but
really a good racket in my opinion.
yeah. What does he string with?
I believe he was Hawk for the longest
Yeah.
time, just like OG head Hawk.
Yeah. I think he's on
But
the
I think he
packaging
might.
too.
I think he might. Like a lot of the players nowadays, once
Hybrid?
they get the money and they figure it out, they like are doing the gut hybrid. So I think he's
Okay.
doing natural gut.
So a little
mixed
extra
with-
feel for him, pocketing maybe.
He's got the natural gut hybrid. Marcos has the natural gut hybrid.
Well, it's also funny because
Rublev.
which we'll talk about him in a minute because he's got a whole new thing, and we can go from Rublo. Yeah. I think it's funny. Maybe it's more on the women's side, but I think they start talking about like their string setups, and then they're like, "Oh, do I need to try that?" And then they want to try it, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
I've literally seen it happen where they're like, "Oh, I want to try natural gut," and then they try, and they're like, "No, maybe not."
Yeah.
I wonder if the guys are like that too. Probably.
I think a lot of them, once they figure out like the tension,
They're good.
it's pretty nice. Like
Yeah.
the hybrid.
You might as well have that.
Rogers used it
luxurious-
forever.
Yeah.
Novak, Murray,
Cream of the crop.
Serena,
Yeah.
Nishikori. Like there's so many.
It makes sense.
Um,
And it can soften up a stiff frame a little bit.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like plushes it out a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. So, okay.
But there is a player, young American, that went the reverse and went back to full poly.
Who?
Corda.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
What's he using?
So he was like, I think he was mixing like Alu or something last year with the gut.
Uh-huh.
And in the warm-up tournaments this year, like the one he made to the final against Djokovic,
Yeah.
he's back to full Alu power, but I think he uses like a 125 and a 120, like two different gauges.
Okay.
So I think he's going for a little more spin, and he also is in a blacked out Wilson racket.
Okay.
And from what I saw, the pattern's a little different. So I think he was 1820, and I think he's trying 1819.
Interesting.
So I think he went like a little different pattern and different gauges of poly to try to maybe get more bite on the ball.
Okay.
Which the 1820 to 1819 thing is kind of funny because Novak did that like a while back.
Oh,
Like he was always 1820, and then
Yeah.
he went to 1819.
Interesting.
So maybe
Well,
there's something to it.
Yeah. Seems to be
And then there's
working.
like Grigor, who's like 1817 or
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah.
Um,
So we were on Fritz.
Fritz, what shoes?
I'm pretty
Did
sure
the-
he's still stubborn, and he's one of those still using the Vapor,
Vapor
Pro,
Pro, yeah.
Gen 1.
There's a lot. Okay, let's do a quick like PSA on Nike shoes. There's a lot of players that like I think stock up and like have backlogs
Either
of
that
shoes.
or like they have somebody at
Or
Nike.
they have someone on
Like,
call.
because Grigor obviously is still him and Belinda. They're like they must
They
be
have,
just
like,
the
9.5.
pretty little kids of Nike who get whatever they want. Because Bencic has had those black and white 9 or 9.5s forever.
Forever.
Same with Grigor. Grigor gets like colors of them though.
Yeah.
so
Well, I remember wasn't Grigor one of the first to do the Nike ID? Remember
something.
back then?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
maybe like it goes way back. Maybe it goes
Maybe
back
it
to
goes
like
way back.
you know
Maybe Maria.
Maria's
set
like,
him up.
oh, I'll get you my in with Nike.
Speaking of,
Maria
I
can get
have to
anything she
bring this
wants.
up. Maria is in Breakpoint a lot.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
just
know
saw
if you
it in
got because I know you're not as far as me, but
Yeah.
she makes
Yeah,
a lot of.
See, they needed Maria,
They should have,
the
yeah,
queen.
the queen.
Was she wearing balla?
She was doing her lifestyle thing,
Okay.
which, and I know this is the ATP chat, but Maria and Badosa, it's no secret. Like Badosa talks about how she was supposed to be like the next Maria Sharapova. They do look similar. So like honestly,
Different games.
totally different games. But like they were going back and forth a few times, and I'm like, that's confusing to people that aren't obsessed with tennis the way we are. I would have been confused because they have the same like facial eyes, hair,
Yeah.
but different accents, different
Different
voices.
accents. Maria won Wimbledon when she was what, like 19?
Oh,
Beat
but
Serena,
Badosa hasn't
you know.
done that yet.
Yeah, sorry. Just kidding.
But back to Nike shoes. We are seeing some players are not transitioning into new shoes, and some players are really not transitioning into new shoes, like
Yeah.
Sinner, who's wearing the Zoom Zeros still, and like we don't know where those are coming from.
Yeah.
And then Francis Tiafoe is wearing the GP Turbo, still, which, fun fact, those are available at Tennis Warehouse Europe and at Tennis Only in Australia, but they are not open to the U.S. market. Or
And
at
the
least
ones that
not
they
for
are
us.
keeping a SKU for
Yeah.
throughout this year, they're women's size.
Yeah, women's sizing. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not completely gone because they were keeping them in line for Osaka. We'll see if that changes based on the fact that she's probably not playing in 2022 or, 2023.
Yeah.
I forgot what year it is. But that's Nike. That also, it is worth noting, I think Nike's trying to get Sinner into one of the new shoes. But at the end of the day, the players really do pick what they like. And you can't really tell them otherwise.
They got him into shorts that are like
those shorts. Oh,
got
man.
like a 15-inch inseam.
Should we talk about the Nike kit? Well, I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, because the Tiafo, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of colors and it's like pretty wild.
Yeah, he can pull it off though.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm of the thinking that like Nike makes these kits for these players, right?
Yeah.
And they have them like set out way before. And it's like you hear the commentators on TV and they're like, man, like that's pretty like risky for like try something like that. And it's like you don't realize that like a lot of these guys that are sponsored, girls that are sponsored, they don't have a say. Like they get kits.
Yeah, here's your
but
stuff.
like Nike's like
Wear
you're
it or
rocking
don't.
this US Open night and you're rocking this US Open day.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know,
Yeah, no, totally.
like he can pull it off, and I think it's fine.
He can pull it off.
But yeah, some of these like it's not the player that's like I'm
No.
gonna wear this because I think it's
Yeah.
cool. Sometimes I think it's like Nike's like no, you're wearing this.
Yeah, and some of them do have like I think their sizes like on call, so they get stuff fitted for them, but most of them don't.
Yeah.
And like it's always my biggest nightmare. Like, what if you got sent something that you felt so uncomfortable in? What do you do?
Yeah.
I don't know. SOS, but yeah. Okay, let's talk more gear. Sorry, I'm all over the place.
Big racket changes.
Yeah, let's go through the racket changes.
So one of the ones at the top of the list is Tommy Paul.
Yes.
That was kind of like out of nowhere.
What did
I
he
didn't-
switch to?
He
or
went
from?
from Blade 1820 to VCore, which we think is the 98. Racket wise, it's a little thicker beam, I believe, so easier power. String pattern is more space, way more spin potential compared to a Blade 1820. So yeah, definitely probably getting a boost in power and
Yeah.
spin.
I feel like blades are so 2022.
I mean, we'll see.
What else?
But yeah, so he's with VCore, same New Balance, and
New Balance.
we'll see what he does
He rocks
with,
the New Balance well.
with footwear because he's
Yeah.
been in the law for
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah.
The other big racket one, another one that was kind of like big is Brooksby.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in a Dunlop
Okay.
CX
Yeah.
cosmetic,
Okay.
but there are some conspiracies out there
I've
that it's
seen
not
the
a Dunlop.
It's
so
not a, yeah.
we'll see.
Which
he
it wouldn't be the
was
first time.
Blade for the longest time, V7.
He
then I
tried
think
to Slinko.
V8. He's been with Slinko String for a while, so I think Slinko was trying to get him in the white out.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm curious about him. What his personality's like. He seems pretty fickle. I mean, most tennis players are, but he seems interesting
yeah,
with his gear at least.
yeah.
And he wears the Uomo, right?
He was, and I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if he is. I know. I believe he's still rocking the Wilson shoes, or he was
Okay,
Wilson
yeah.
Rush Pros.
Yeah.
I believe he was still in that same apparel brand we were talking about with Vekic
Yes. Yeah.
going into. But yeah, that one's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I like every time I see a top player or a big name, whatever, like going into Dunlop. I'm like,
And those are the
pretty
red
stoked.
ones, CX,
Yeah,
right?
the control line. So
More
like
control,
the
more
racket
feel.
matches up
Yeah.
the Blade to the CX,
Mhm.
similar
Makes
beam.
sense. Yeah. And good for Dunlop for getting
And
someone.
then the last couple of years, they had Kik Manovich,
Mhm.
who's SX.
Yeah.
And then we were talking earlier about Draper.
Right.
He's the FX.
Nice.
Oh, another one, Dunlop, big pickup. I think he's an Australian player, Poprin, Alexei
Yes.
Poprin.
Yeah. He's like Russian Australian, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's been in the
Oh, he's-
FX.
Okay. Was he always Dunlop? Wasn't he head?
He was. He was
Yeah.
a prestige player.
Yeah. I remember that.
So he would play in a couple of the warm-up tournaments and looked pretty good so far with
Nice.
the Dunlop. So
That's
hey,
cool. That's
hopefully
good.
Dunlop can.
That's the thing. Dunlop makes great rackets. So whatever to get them into more players' hands would be great because they have good technology, good everything.
yeah,
It's
and I'm
just
sure
weird.
they're pro stock or their pro room.
Yeah, I'm sure.
At least
it's-
it was in the past when they had back
James
in the day.
Blake.
Blake, Almagro,
Oh, yeah.
Burditch, Haas,
I was going to say Tommy Haas.
Robredo.
Yeah.
Like they know what they're doing. Like they just
Yeah.
need to
Get
get
them
the
in.
right players at the
Yeah.
right time. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's something to look out for.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Nice.
Yeah, but those are two big racket switches. We saw Rafa early in 23
Uh-huh.
with a new racket.
New cosmetic.
And I know he used it in a couple warm-up tournaments.
He
or
did.
Was it United Cup?
Yeah.
But as of AO, he's back in the Pure Aero Rafa from
Cosmetic.
2022.
Yeah.
So we'll see
We'll see.
what happens there. Definitely has some like pink pops like your shirt. in
Yeah, that pink though.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So we'll see
I
what's
like
up with the
it.
new, if there's something up with cooking for the Babolat
We'll
rackets.
see. I'm excited to find out.
Yeah. What else is there?
What else? Rublo.
Yeah.
Rublev. We think could. Well, again, we don't know. It's all allegedly. It's all hearsay, but is no longer wearing Nike and started. It seems like he started his own brand called Rublo.
Yeah.
And you can check out the website. It's pretty, for a young guy, it seems like he's trying to make some waves in things that he believes in. And I think that's cool, personally.
Yeah.
And to not be endorsed by a big brand like Nike is taking a big step on his own. So
Yeah.
I haven't
Racket-wise,
seen
still
him.
same with Gravity. And he's in the Vapor 11 shoes right now.
Yes. And is he the one playing Dominic Thiem today?
Maybe.
I think so. So that could be interesting. What else? Who else?
Korean player, Soonwoo Kwon.
Okay.
He actually just took a tough loss in the first round. But he was head radical. And
Okay.
he's kind of like an up-and-coming.
Yeah.
His rankings gradually, he had a good last year. But he was head radical for a while and just starting or like in the off season and warm-up tournaments, he's been in a blacked out Yonex.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if he's tried different Yonex molds or frames, but the last tournament I just saw him and it looked like a thinner beam, maybe like a VCore Pro.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like a VCore Pro 100 or VCore Pro 97,
Yeah, that's cool.
but
Interesting.
he took a loss in the first round. So maybe that's, I don't know if that's
So
confidence.
maybe he
or-
won't go into that racket.
Yeah. Another one that I heard some things about was Cressy.
Yes.
So
Oh yeah. You were telling me about this.
yeah, New Balance still for apparel. New
Mhm.
Balance I think he still wears the Lobs,
Mhm.
but he's one of those guys that's been holding on to the Babolat Pure Aero, the 2016 model.
Yes.
But in the off season, I had heard because he'd been carrying around a Technofiber bag,
Right.
and he's an American but French.
But French, yeah.
So I was like, oh, and then I heard Technofiber, something about Technofiber. So I was like, oh, that'd be like a cool
That would be cool.
come up for Technofiber.
I think it would, yeah.
But in the matches and in the warm ups and the practices, he's still using his old
Old Pure.
Babolat, but he's carrying them in Technofiber bags.
Well, we know how those Pure Aero players are.
Yeah. So
There's like a trust they just can't let go of.
it'd be cool if they can get him into like a T fight or
Right?
maybe even like TFX, something.
That's an interesting thought too. We just were talking about how Dunlop doesn't really have a whole ton of pro endorsement, but neither does Technofiber. I mean, they have some of the biggest.
Yeah.
But not a lot, right?
Not a huge range.
Yeah. There's like I can think of less than 5 players. Am I wrong?
Yeah. So I mean, the big ones, obviously Medvedev, Iga,
And then
the Mertens. So that was a
okay.
good come up for them.
What's her name?
Not
Not
Kazakina.
Kazakina.
She's with the Artengo brand now.
Oh, just kidding.
But those was it Iga, Medvedev, Mertens.
and Chris
the-
Eubanks.
Eubanks. The guy we've done video with, Arthur Rindernish, the French
Yes.
guy. He's a TF40 guy.
I can't pronounce his name. Maybe that's why I forgot about him.
I saw a WTA girl. I think I forget what country she's from. She's in a T rebound. There's a few random ones out there.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking because they do make such great rackets.
Yeah.
And it's surprising, I think people just don't think of them. And maybe because they are more French based. I don't know.
And maybe they'll pick up a couple more because
Yeah.
like Shardy was with them, but he's kind of on his way out.
Yeah.
And Millman's still around.
Oh, yeah. Millman. He
Yeah.
won his first round. I did see
Yeah.
that.
So
Okay. Who else? What else? I have a few more names that if we want to go over. Berrettini, we can just talk about. Is he wearing the EA7? No. Am I completely
He's,
wrong?
Hugo Boss.
Boss. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked about that with the women, starting to see these like kind of brands that aren't necessarily tennis authentic brands coming into the tennis world, and then they're wearing what shoes is he wearing? Lotto?
I think he's still in the Gel Res.
Gel Res, just kidding.
He was when he was Lotto.
Did everyone that was wearing the 8 switch to the 9? Have you noticed?
Ooh, I saw Iga did
Yeah.
the other day. I want to say Berrettini's in the 9.
Yeah.
Not sure which other ones. Just because, like, Damon Hour's still in the speed.
Yeah.
Chorich, I think, is still in the Court FF2.
I'm not sure. I will say Djokovic will be wearing the Court FF3.
Mm-hmm. The tuna blue one.
The
He had
tuna
it on the other day.
There's been some slight updates, but from what I have heard, and I have not worn it yet, but they literally updated the shoe for Djokovic, it seems. And we've got some cool stuff coming on the YouTube channel, on Tennis Warehouse YouTube, that will show more in depth of how they've updated it. But it sounded like they like studied his movement even further. Like I think they started the shoe that way, obviously, but then like got him in the lab and like he needed to be even more flexible and like so. There's been some interesting feedback so far, but sounds like it's like built for Novak, which I don't really move as well as him or as fluid. But from just trying on the new Gel Res 9, I'm stoked on that update. I don't know about you.
Yeah. They feel good so far. Just trying them on.
Yeah, just trying them on. We're playtesting a lot of shoes right now.
I'm trying to think anything else ASICS, but yeah.
Yeah.
Who
else? Holger Rune. Any updates on him? I just like saying his name.
He's, I believe, rocking the Vapor Pro 2. He's one of the
Nice.
ones. Youngster, so I don't think he has too much attachment to
Yeah.
the older model. But he's also another guy that's in the Aero 98.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Him, Alcaraz,
FAA?
NFA.
Yeah.
Um,
Which there's, or I'm going to bring up my little Easter egg in, if you're watching Breakpoint, the difference between knowing if you're like a true tennis nerd, geek, whatever, they show FAA at the French Open and they talk about like how tough it is being on tour and his sister's there and everything. And he doesn't, get a lot of time with friends, family, all of that. And then all of a sudden they show all these people there surprising him for his 21st birthday. But I don't know if you know when his birthday is. So I only know when his birthday is because he shares a birthday with Roger.
oh, okay.
And so if you're at the French Open, you know what time of the year it is. And I know that Roger's birthday is not at the French Open. So I was like a little like, hey, this is not during the French Open that they surprised him for his birthday. Unless they did something completely different, like, hey, you're turning 21.
What day is their birthdays?
I'm 90% sure it's in August.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Wait, well, and then there was the times when
August 8th.
when were the years where they like completely changed the schedule because of
Oh.
COVID though? That wasn't that was supposed to be last year? No,
That was 2021.
21, huh?
And FAA, if I'm not mistaken, his birthday is also August 8th,
Gotcha.
I think.
Yeah.
And that's, yep. That's the crazy. That's where I go. So that's my little Easter egg with FAA and that the actual editing process. I'm like, that wasn't. If it's his birthday, he's not at the French Open. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that has
yeah.
nothing to do.
I was
with
just
here.
because I just remember like the schedule change. I was like, oh no.
But they did do the schedule change, but it wasn't last year.
Last year, okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, and if anyone else caught that, let me know.
Yeah.
What shoes are, speaking of FAA, what shoes is he wearing?
Seems like he's settled into barricades pretty well.
Yeah. There's now at least some solid barricade wearers.
Yeah.
Some Uber wearers.
Yeah, because when the Uber 4 came out, it was like, oh, these players are going to use this. And then other than Sasha, it didn't really seem like they were using the Uber very much. And then a lot of them stuck with that like pro stock shoe, that Soul Court
Boost. That's
which is actually a bounce, which I think Team still uses that.
Okay. People love
But
that shoe.
like, CC Pops was still using it, and Felix and Verdasco.
A lot of club players too are married to that one.
But a lot of the Adidas pros now seem to have settled into the barricade.
I'm curious about the Cybersonic. I really want to
Yeah.
see that on more pros' feet.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
they
we'll
feel
see.
pretty good.
Yeah, they feel amazing.
Yeah, so for the Adidas players, speaking of shoes, back to the Roger, Monfils
Hmm.
has been
Oh, yeah.
testing it out.
Yeah.
And when he went to Artango, he was still rocking gel res shoes throughout the year.
He was.
Asics, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it looks like I don't know if he's practicing or wherever indoors or he's been trying out the On.
Yeah. Do we
Roger
know
shoe.
when he's coming, if he's coming back?
I don't know.
I know. Yeah. There's a lot of chatter lately about players having kids and
Yeah.
going off tour for, paternity, maternity leave. And I guess they were talking yesterday, you probably heard this, but 2 women have successfully come back after having a kid and won Grand Slams. It was Kim Clijsters and I think was it Azarenka? It wasn't Serena. And it's so interesting because now with Naomi announcing that she's pregnant and she's having a baby, and even Ash Barty having a baby, and you just wonder if that even, I don't know, I'm not a mom, but I could imagine your whole world kind of shifts upside down and like maybe that's not even part of it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I also wonder I don't know, on the men's side, it's cool to see Monfils with his baby and like, they're a cute little family. So, but at the end of the day, he's probably trying to get back.
Yeah.
But is his wife, is Svitolina going to make it back? I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah.
These are the thoughts I have.
Yeah, it's hard to say because, like, on the men's side, it's like you have people like Roger who's had his kids for a long time now and made the tour work.
Yeah. And he always said that, like, if Mirka ever said this isn't working, like, he was like, cool, we're done. But now Rafa has a kid. Has he, like, I guess I haven't even thought about that because he just recently became a father. Djokovic is a father. Like, I guess they're all doing it very successfully. There's a lot of fathers.
The thing is, like, someone like Roger, I see, with like 2 sets of twins, he's had a lot of luxuries and like certain things in his life where he can make that kind of lifestyle really work for him.
For
like
sure. Traveling
Mirka
nannies.
The whole family just traveling with him and staying in these certain, he knows that too. He talks about that. Like, he's talked about like having that sort of lifestyle. So,
and then, just also piggybacking on something, we both listened to a podcast, on one of the tennis podcasts. They were talking about how these athletes are now like more than tennis players. And like Roger kind of, not just Roger, but like these players before kind of did all of this to now make tennis this bigger thing. So it's okay to be like all these things.
Oh, yeah.
And they're being celebrated, which is great.
Yeah. And even Novak with his, was it 2 kids?
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. So I don't know. It's fun to, I guess, because we're growing up, so it's fun to watch the players grow up and then.
Okay. Yeah. So last couple for some of the brands. We were talking about Berrettini and Boss.
Yes.
The Emporio Armani brand. They've had Fognini.
EA7, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fognini, and then you brought it up the other day with Kudermatova.
Yes.
And she actually wears their shoes.
Yeah,
or
that's
whatever
crazy.
shoe that they're making.
I know.
Fognini's been in their brand, but he's been wearing K-Swiss or before that Asics.
Yeah.
But a couple players that switched over to them recently, Bublik.
Bublik, okay.
Yeah, so he's in their brand.
EA7,
I'm
nice.
not sure what shoes, maybe Asics still. And then another one that surprised me was Sonego.
Okay.
Which he was Mizuno head to toe.
Yes.
And he's still rocking like the Wave Exceed shoes.
Okay.
But he's actually in their Emporio Armani clothing.
Interesting.
So
yeah, I remember asking you the other day, what the heck is this brand?
Yeah.
It looks cool, but it also, I keep thinking it's a gaming.
Oh, like EA Sports. Yeah. And I don't know what the 7 stands for. I just know that it's like their sporting line.
Right. Okay.
So I want to say even Burditch was with them at one point before he left.
You're right.
I think it was H&M, but I want to say he was even with them.
Oh, speaking of, what is H&M doing now that Roger's gone and Nishikori's gone? Did he officially retire? No.
Oh, you're talking about Uniqlo?
Oh, Uniqlo. Yes.
Yeah.
See, definitely all over the place.
Yeah.
Is Uniqlo doesn't have anyone.
Ooh.
Or H&M.
Yeah, but pretty much Roger and Nishikori were the main stays for Uniqlo, and
It seems like they're still making little Roger things here and there, but
Yeah, like I saw they came out with some new colors of the
Yeah.
Roger stuff.
it's
but
like it just makes us nostalgic for Roger.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be nice to see Nishikori back, hopefully
Yeah.
one day.
Who else? Anyone else? Who's the guy that's wearing penguin?
Oh, Mackie.
Mackie.
He was Fila head to toe
Yeah.
for a while.
And he's still wearing Fila shoes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he is now rocking the Penguin brand with Isla on the women's side,
Mhm.
and then I think Dan Evans is still doing it on the men's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm here for this like weird crossover of like lifestyle meets tennis.
Right.
Something different, at least, I think.
Anything in your
I did see today that Medvedev now has his name on Lacoste, or his own logo and his name. And then he has the new racket, right?
Yeah. So, but you were
Quote,
saying
unquote,
as far as on his apparel or whatever, he has
Yeah.
like his own brand logo.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I just saw it this morning. On the label it says Medvedev, and I think, he has a logo. So that's cool.
Yeah. But he's still Lacoste with the Lacoste shoes.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the new T-Fight ISO
Yes.
racket
Yes.
from the
yes,
previous RS line. And then also one thing that was visibly different about his setup is that for a while he was T-Fight racket with the white Razor Code string, and now
Right.
he's onto a dark string.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a darker color. So they don't know if it's like just a dark color of the Razor Code, like the carbon color that they've had,
Interesting.
or there are rumors that Technofiber might be coming out with a new poly.
Oh, cool. I
So-
mean, they make great strings, so that would be fun
Yeah.
to see. Yeah, that's his logo. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
It's simple. He kind of jokes that he's basically French, so
Right.
his whole team's French, and
The brands.
all his brands are French. I think he lives in France, so kind of cool. And it's very clean. I know some people are turned off by Djokovic's logo, and I think this is a very like clean logo that wouldn't be offensive. You barely even see it on the shirt right
Yeah.
down there, so that's cool. I think that's everyone. I'm sure we missed someone, but I apologize for the scatteredness, but we're just getting back to the podcast vibes for 2023.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a great year, and hopefully lots of fun, different things for the podcast too. But yeah, I think that's it, right?
Yeah. So look forward to things to come this year.
Yeah. Stay tuned for more stuff from us. We're going to try to get more playtesters and more podcasts and give like first impressions and deep dives into products and gear
Right.
and all that good stuff. And maybe even just some opinions on things. And because why not?
Is Michelle finally going to switch rackets this year?
I don't know. I don't know. It's so funny because even when I talk about a racket alike, I'm very particular to say like top 5.
Yeah.
I did say I put the Radical in the top 5. But I'm not sure if it would go above 4.
Yeah.
So we'll
Michelle
see.
would be one of those like pro stock players that if you had access, you'd have the same racket for 20 years, just new
Always.
colors.
Yeah, new
I want a new
colors for
color.
sure. Yeah. We can say too, I've seen some of the new pro staffs out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
looks
that's-
what do you think of cosmetic?
That's out and about. That new brown racket.
Do you like it or no?
It looks pretty cool. Like I guess on TV, it's something different.
Yeah.
It's not something that like I think like we talked about earlier. Like it's not something that just screams pro staff right away.
Yeah. It's interesting.
And I think some people may, from a distance, get confused with the greenish blade
Yeah.
and the brownish pro staff now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it looks cool on TV with the glossy paint job. We're seeing
Yeah.
like Kvitova, Dan Evans.
Yeah.
They
There's
finally
been a
got
few.
Batista Agut to actually use a new cosmetic
That's good.
from the old Counterville from
Aw.
like 5 years
Yeah.
ago. So
Yeah. So stay tuned. We'll be reviewing. We're right now the playtest schedule is heavy. We're like reviewing so many things from shoes to strings to rackets, and that's the way we like it. It gets a little slow for a minute, and then we're hitting the ground running. So cool. Well, that's all we've got for you guys, and feel free to reach out if you have any comments, suggestions, or just want to banter with us. And we'll see you next time. Happy hitting.
thanks.